What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is Ready to Love Season 5 Reunion Part 2. So we are finally at the end of this road, and I say hallelujah. And quiet as it's kept, the real reunion took place the minute this reunion was over, because when I tell you that everybody was live telling all the business, whatever NDA y'all had, it must have ended at the stroke of 9 o'clock on whatever the day of the last reunion was. Because when I say everybody was telling everything, that's a whole nother live, child. But anyway, let's go on and talk about this. So we pick up the reunion after Tasia runs off the stage because she say this thing is ghetto and she tired of arguing with these people. Personally, I just think she was tired of waiting for them to get to her part of the story. But neither here nor there. We still arguing about the whole Camille situation, and then the host says, listen, let's just agree to disagree, let's move on, everybody has their truth and we're going to move forward. She said the reality is people made connections, and Zadia was like, exactly, so can we get to the connections, because I made a connection, please and thank you. And I'm just thinking to myself, girl, you can't say nothing without sounding like you have an attitude. Like, there was a way. Like, here's the thing, I'm happy you found love, Naeem. I think you a bitch ass nigga. I said it and I meant it when I said it last week. But I'm glad you found love, okay? Because I still feel like you was being real you know what, let me take that. No, I said it. I said it. But you was still being real bitchy even with that, and was like, well, I left when she left, so it goes together. And I was just like, again, y'all don't have to be so nasty about it. Like, it's just you're nasty. Y'all are just nasty, and it ain't editing, and it's not perception. It is what you have shown us on screen. But moving on. So then we talk about Walter and Walter's connection. And of course we go through the whole situation, and we get down to when Sabrina didn't choose him. And he said that, he just wished that, they were cool, they were friends, they had this connection, and he wished that she would have had the conversation with him prior to basically he was like, I wish you hadn't embarrassed my ass on national television. Like, you could have told me before that you wasn't gonna choose me, and then I wouldn't have shown up with all these roses and confessed my undying love and loyalty to you, if you hadn't said that. And I guess I could kind of see where Walter is coming from. But Sabrina had been telling you, like, again, it wasn't in her confessional. She told you on more than one occasion, I need you to be present. Even the one clip they showed where she said we need to work on communication, and he was like, well, I was giving you your space. But she's clearly letting you know she doesn't need space. She's telling you, this is what I need from you. And the reality is, everything ain't for everybody. Everything can be there, but it could be the small things that you need. There are non-negotiables in relationships, and it sounds like for Sabrina, a non-negotiable is that communication piece. Like, I know for me it is. We don't have to have no 3-hour conversation every day, but I need to hear from you every day. If you my man and this what we doing, a good morning, a how was your day goes a long way, okay? And it sounds like that's what Sabrina was needing from Walter, and he just wasn't giving it to her. Sabrina said that she just never felt like, she was his number one. She always felt like his consolation prize. And not only did he say she was his number one, but the whole group was like, no. Everybody knew that Sabrina was Walter's number one from day one. Even Mumin said, I knew that was the number one. So I don't know what Walter needed to do to make Sabrina feel like she was the number one. But when it was over with, they did hug. And so they looked like they were in a good place. So, good for them. So then we had Courtney's story. And I'm going to be honest with you. I like Courtney and everything, but they just, like, her editing just made her look like a whole sex kitten, okay? It said that she had a connection with Cornelius, but Cornelius just was a little put off by the whole sex thing because, he just didn't, he felt like she was going to put the pressure on him. And he just, just wasn't going to work for him. She said that the situation with Corey really bothered her because she felt like Corey was just taking the whole thing as a joke, and it really hurt because she was really interested, and she, really would have liked to see where things could have gone. But it wasn't to be. She was happy to be on the show, happy for what everybody's experience, and great. Then we talked about Corey. Let me tell y'all something about Mr. Corey. Corey, now Camille was buying them tears and defending him, talking about because everybody. Because okay, let me rewind. I jumped ahead. Corey broke down crying, child, and Sabrina and them. You could see the looks on everybody's face, and I think Sabrina even sort of questioned. And Camille was like, "No, those tears were real. We're not gonna discredit his tears." But the more I heard Corey talk, the more I realized, oh, I felt like this is some bullshit. Because he started talking about the reason why he doesn't know why he does what he does, and he doesn't know why but he's seen his parents and how much love they have, and he just wants to put that look on a woman's face. And he does the things that he knows make women happy, and he tries too hard. And again, that's that bullshit interview question when the interviewer says, hey, what are some bad qualities that you have that you think we should know? And you do that long pause, and you look off to the side like you're really trying to think of a bad quality, and then you look back at the interviewer and you say, I just work too damn hard. I just don't know how to take a break. That is what Corey was saying, talking about I just work too hard, I just want to make everybody happy. And then he started crying again on stage, because that was in his exit interview, child. Then he started crying again on stage, and I was like, boy, bye. But here's when I really realized that we needed to stop with the bullshit. When the other guys called you out, that's when I knew. Because here's the reality of the situation. What we found out was Tasia was sitting there like, I'm just waiting for us to talk about the third party in this love triangle, because we know we had Courtney and we know we had Mumin. Well, come to find out, him and Tasia had been kicking it. They were still hanging out even after both of them had left the show. And come to find out that Tasia said that he was sending her the same text messages. I want you to meet my family, and I want you to do this, and I want you to do that. The same bullshit. So, Corey, you full of shit. So then Corey started talking about how he was insinuating that he was the reason why Tasia was still around, that he kept Tasia around, and he was the reason. And Phil was like, Corey, look, bruh, I'm sorry, but I gotta call bullshit. Like, everybody, no, Walter, actually it was Walter who started it. Walter said, listen, I've been quiet most of this reunion, and he has, because I was wondering why he was even there. He said, but you're not going to sit here and act like we all wanted to vote Tasia off and nobody was feeling Tasia, because that's not the case. Every week, everybody was like, Tasia's cool, Tasia's cool, Tasia's cool. And Tasia even said herself that she felt like she wasn't anybody's number one. She didn't feel like she was anybody's bottom. She was just sort of floating through the middle, which I could say was probably true. But don't sit here and act like, and so once Walter said that, then Phil sort of chimed in, and some of the other guys, they were like, yeah, you're not going to sit here and make it seem like, you were the only one that had Tasia's back and was looking out for Tasia, because that ain't even how this whole party was going, bruh. And I was just sitting here like, Corey is full of shit. Child. I'm not even gonna talk about none of the stuff that came out after the reunion was over. I'm just gonna talk about what we got in front of us. I'm just gonna talk about the reunion, child. So then they did talk to Tasia about, about her experience and everything. And child, listen, I want to like Tasia, but I just feel like Tasia got a lot with her too, okay? Tasia got a lot with her too, but ultimately she did, like some of the guys, but none of it was enough of a connection for it to be, turn into anything. They asked would she date anybody else, and she was like, nah, I don't circle back around. Like, if if it wasn't good enough from the beginning, then oh well, it is what it is. But I'm good. I don't have any ill feelings towards anybody. Well, maybe Corey, child. But she was like, but I'm good. So then we got into the Zadia Dante situation. What I saw them put on camera was Zadia apologized to Dante. What I didn't see them put on camera was Zadia apologized to Aisha. Now, if it was there and I missed it, y'all let me know. But I didn't see that. I saw them replay Zadia talking about how Aisha didn't have no class, and Aisha, whatever the negative comments she made about Aisha. But I didn't hear them say nothing about the positives with Aisha, okay? Now, I mean, the apology to Aisha. Now, she said that she did regret going back in that restaurant and that she should have just kept it moving and that she was wrong for putting her finger in Dante's face. She said she was absolutely wrong for that whole situation. She said that she did make a connection with Naeem, and Naeem was not her second choice, but she realized that, her and Dante, Dante was the person, but she realized in hindsight that he wasn't the answer. He wasn't the one, and it was what it was, and she with Naeem, and life is good. So you know what, girl, if you like it, I love it, child. You stay with Naeem. You stay with Naeem. So then we got into Aisha and Dante and her journey. And I'm gonna tell you something. At the beginning of this, I said that I felt like Walter was out of all the guys, I felt like Walter was the one that was the most ready to love. I still feel like Walter is ready to love and Walter is looking for a relationship. I just think that Walter and Sabrina conduct themselves differently in relationships, and their needs aren't the same. Walter seems like the type of person that he could probably go a couple of days without talking to you, and it doesn't mean that he ain't thinking about you. It doesn't mean that he ain't feeling you. It just means that that's just not who he is as far as picking up the phone. And listen, it's different strokes for different folks. Listen, I wonder if he's a Sagittarius, because let me tell you something. Them Sagittariuses and Aquariuses, they are like that. They don't need to talk to you every day. That don't mean they ain't thinking about you. Don't mean it ain't all love, but they just don't feel the need to do it. I just, and Sabrina's maybe more of a I need to hear from you every day kind of person. So, it looks different for different people. But I do think Walter was the most ready to love. But out of all of the women, I feel like Aisha played the game the best as far as went through the process. We saw Aisha actually going, I think out of all of the people, I mean, we did have that one episode where I don't think we saw her at all. But we saw Aisha date different people. We saw Aisha contemplate, this person is good for this, but maybe not that. This person, I'm feeling them, but I'm not too sure about this. And we saw that process and we saw that journey. And her and Dante ended up together, and they're still together. And even though, a lot of people talked about this season of Ready to Love, it got a lot of flack. A lot of people had some negative things to say about it. And don't get me wrong, there's some things to say. There are some things to say, but I will say this. I feel like we got the most connections. Now, I haven't been watching Ready to Love since season 1, but this is my 3rd season. And, I mean, we ended the season with 4, really strong connections where they still together at the reunion. We have Phil and Sydney. We have Dante and Aisha, Camille and Cornelius, and Zadia and Naeem. That's 4 really strong couples out of 10. I think that's almost at 50%. I'm just saying. But then we ended with, Tyrone shooting his shot at the host. Poor Tyrone child. And we got a sneak peek of the next season of Ready to Love, which immediately starts next week. There is no casting special. They're just getting right into the, and it's also in the DMV, but they're calling this one this season was Ready to Love DC. The next one is Ready to Love DMV, because I guess they recruited people who lived in Maryland and other parts. They said they cruising down the Potomac, child. So I guess these are people that live in other parts of the area. So we're going to see some Maryland people, maybe some Virginia people, which is fine, because again, this part of, this area, like from my house, I could be in Maryland. Well, I'm in Maryland, but I could be in DC in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I could be in Virginia in 15 minutes. Like, it's that. We're right here. So all of it's right there together, child. And quiet as it's kept, half that cast of Ready to Love DC probably lived in Maryland. Okay, quiet as it's kept. Anyway, so we'll see what happens next week, child. But it looks like it's only 7 and 7. I don't anticipate it staying 7-7. I feel like they're going to throw us some curveballs. You know, that's what they do. And then we know that they're already recruiting for Ready to Love Miami. I heard they already started filming, but I know that they were recruiting. I saw the flyer on Tommy's Instagram. So, y'all, this show is chugging right along. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the reunion. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.